All right, members, thank you for joining. We shall be starting in 2 minutes. Hello, Brian. Can you hear me? thank you for joining. We are going to start in 2 minutes. Hello, Brian. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. We shall wait for more 2 minutes as people join. Then we start our today's program.
All right.
A very good evening to everyone. My name is Mohindo Mubarak. I'm a software developer at A Technologies Consult. Today we are going to discuss about a career path for a Flutter developer in a Uganda-based environment. So we have our guest, Mr. Brian. He is a graphics designer, a software developer, and mobile application developer. He will talk more about himself. Then after the interview, we shall allow people to engage in and ask a few questions, and then we call it a day. So the first thing I'll request you to do is to follow 8 Learning, the host or the account that you're currently watching or listening to. I request you to follow, and then we shall tell you more about 8 Learning at the end of the interview. So without wasting much of your time, I'll request my guest, Mr. Brian, to open your microphone and briefly introduce yourself, and then we dive into our today's discussion.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this space. To start with, I'm called Mbisa Brian. Some of you know me, others don't. But I'm called Mbisa Brian, though I normally use Cephas as my code name and also my brand name. And basically, what I do is that I'm a software engineer. A lot of my expertise is in cross-platform app development with Flutter. I've done a number of talks, events, and various sessions about Flutter. Then on the other side, I'm also a graphics and UX designer. Yeah, some people know me also for that. So basically, in the tech world, that's all I do. I do apps that is in Flutter and also graphics and UX design. But leaving alone that, I also know other technologies. Of course, I'm not into Flutter alone because sometimes you might be working on a simple problem that doesn't need Flutter alone. So I also know other technologies like Python, Django, Astro, and those other various languages like JavaScript. Yes, basically that's it about me. If you want maybe to know more about me and more about what I do, there's a link, of course, in my bio that takes you to my portfolio, which has like everything about me. Whatever I do, my terms of service, my contacts, my other social media handles, blogs, and everything I do. So you can check it out. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brian, for that extensive introduction. So, as I said, before we dive into our today's interview, I'll request you to follow our 8 Learning account, and also I request you to share. Just click on the share button there down, so other people can also benefit from what we're going to discuss today. All right, so we'll go straight to our today's discussion. So since January 2020 or during COVID breakdown, Flutter started gaining popularity as a framework for developing cross-platform mobile applications. When I say cross-platform mobile applications, I mean developing a mobile app using the same code that is going to run on both iPhones and Android application, or even other operating systems. So Flutter gained the popularity with against its rival, that is React Native, during COVID. So in Uganda, as in many other places, the demand of Flutter developers has exponentially grown due to the increasing adoption of mobile application technology or mobile technology. So that's why we have decided to conduct this interview for the aspiring mobile application developers or aspiring developers, and ask our expert a few questions, the expert that has introduced himself, a few questions about mobile application development using Flutter technology, so we can all be able to learn. So first things first, we are going to talk about mobile application development companies. So our first question will go as what are the different career paths available for Flutter developers in Uganda? So we are talking in terms of freelancing or agency work or in-house positions. So I would like my guest to answer that question, like what are the different career paths available for Flutter developers. So if someone wants to join mobile application developing using Flutter, so I'd like Mr. Brand, to explain to us briefly different career paths of mobile application development in terms of freelancing or doing the agency work or in-house positions.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Barak. When it comes to career paths for Flutter developers in Uganda, the most common one, like for the start when you are still learning Flutter and still growing in the Flutter field, the most common one is freelancing, of course, whereby you have a client, they give you a project, and you work on it as you grow your skill further. Then after you have become good at it, then you can start looking out for jobs in various fields and companies that use Flutter. For example, take the one which Mubarak talked about where he works, they use Flutter. Then there's also Zofi Cash. These people at Innovation Village, that's where their offices are. They also use Flutter. Then there's also Prudential Uganda, they also use Flutter. So once you have gained a lot of skills in Flutter and you see you're worth it now to start looking for a job, of course after freelancing and doing a number of projects here and there, then you can seek out to these organizations and start looking for a developer position in Flutter. And for a country like Uganda, these positions are of course growing for Flutter developers, and the main reason is because companies these days want to save on human resource, whereby they hire a few people who can do like a lot of tasks, and which is why Flutter is most favorable for such roles, because most companies want developers who can do both Android and iOS apps, or web apps and desktop apps as their company grows. So because of all that, that's why companies are opting to hire Flutter developers, because Flutter is a cross-platform framework and it can use one single code base to develop apps for those various platforms like Android, iOS, Windows, Linux, and macOS. So I'd love to hire such a developer. It is more, okay, we can say in short that Flutter is replacing the old stack developers, because in the old age, full stack developers used to do like literally everything. So you could say Flutter is also like that, whereby a developer is hired to do all those apps for platforms. So basically, the career paths, we have freelancing. You can also do some agency work, or you do contract work. Someone can hire you for a given period of time, and you do a contract on a Flutter project. Uh, then also we have internship programs because companies hire out interns to also do some Flutter work. So basically, that's it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brian. I think people have somewhere to note for those who are really interested. Really, even me, that's how I started. That's how you've said. You have to. It's better to start with the freelancing. Start doing your own personal projects at your own pace. So when you're going to look for in-house job or any agency have job, you already have something to show. Even that's me how I started. So thank you for that well explained answer. So we shall go for our second questions, and that's are there specific industries within Uganda that have a high demand for Flutter developers? For example, in fintech, or financial technologies, or in education, or in agriculture. Do you have these industries already in Uganda? Oh, can you answer that, please?
Yes, in Uganda, of course, we have various industries. Actually, starting from the fintech side of it, like I told you, Zofi Cash, those people use Flutter for their apps. Then their churches, I think most of you have heard about Fanero. That Fanero app is built in Flutter, so they hire Flutter developers for that role. Then, if you have heard about Prudential, also that insurance company uses Flutter. So you can see that the educational field, there's also that fintech field, then there's also the agricultural field. Now, like products at iTech, most of the apps are built in Flutter. And then also emerging agricultural companies are opting to use Flutter for their apps because mostly in Uganda the main target is Android and iOS. So that's why most companies are using Flutter so that they don't have to hire like two developers or developers who are good at both Android and iOS. But if you're good at Flutter, then you're good to go. So there is also the educational field. For example, the one of the apps that I co-found, the one called Calcat, our app, Android and the web app are both built in Flutter. So I would say there's a wide range of industries that are using Flutter. Others use them for in-house apps that they don't lay out to the public, but in them they have Flutter.
So you
Then
mean uh,
maybe another global example of an app using Flutter is this Bible app. There's this Bible app from your version, U version. Those people used Flutter for their Bible app, the update when they made it. So you can check out, maybe if you want to see some Flutter features, you can check out that U version Bible app. It is using Flutter a lot. Thank you.
yeah, so it means that if someone decides to specialize in Flutter right now, they won't be doing wrong decision as how you've explained. So how does the career landscape for Flutter developers differ in Uganda compared to other countries?
Well, about that one, like we all know that Uganda is a developing country and the field is still trying to grow and gain that traction. So one of the major differences, or what can make this career landscape of a Flutter developer differ in Uganda and other countries, is that countries, let's say like US, whereby Flutter was adopted early because that's where Google is, and Google is the parent company of Flutter. So there a lot of people have adopted Flutter. So that said, there are a wide range of opportunities, let's say compared to Uganda, whereby we are still the country alone, and also companies are still trying to adapt to this new landscape of Flutter compared to the other people in other various countries who already started using it some time back. Then also like I said, the broker roles are few. Then also the market is just growing. Since Flutter was launched in 2020, that was COVID time. Okay, it wasn't launched in 2020, it was launched in 2017, but gaining that traction 2020, that's when people started knowing it. So you can see the period has not been that long, for example, for a country like Uganda, for people to adapt to that Flutter framework. But I know with time, since companies are trying to reduce costs on human resource mainly, so I know they will keep on adopting Flutter, and then we shall have a big number of roles in that field. And since it is still a growing field, that is still a big opportunity for anyone starting out, because you are sure that, by the time you're an expert in that Flutter field, you're sure that the jobs will already be there, because there are few developers doing it at the moment. So, meaning if you start in such a growing market, then you are sure that with time, that job is there.
Thank you so much. So, as Brian has assured you, he had done some research. The jobs are there, so those who are aspiring to learn and do Flutter, it means that won't be wrong decision. So, another interesting question is, according to your research or according to what you already know since you experienced development Flutter, what are the typical salary ranges for a Flutter developer in Uganda at a different experience levels?
Well, about that one, well, the salary ranges actually they differ based on the company, because, for example, if you go to a startup, you won't expect to be earning that much money like someone who is already in an established organization or company. So, for the ranges, I would say for the start, maybe you are doing some internship somewhere. Maybe it could be like 300, 400 there, 300K, not M. So 300K, something like to keep you, that is internship period, yeah. Then for entry level kind of role, like now, been doing your freelancing, but now you are finishing, let's say, campus, and you are getting like that first job, entry level. So that one range from like one M to like 2M there, that range. Uh, then for these other mid-level professionals, now you've been in the field, let's say, for about 3 years, 2 years. Then there the salary range can range from like 2.5 M, about 4M there, that a month. Yeah. Then for the experts, those who are already experienced, maybe someone has been doing Flutter like since the time it launched in 2017 up to now. So such a person, of course, have to reward him with a higher salary, like let's say 5M plus, because for example, I would give like an example of companies like the Zoficash and the Prudential. For them, their developers are like they're in 3M plus per month. So yeah, basically the salary range I can give.
Yeah, so I believe those who are interested are taking notes. So, what are the essential skills and experience needed to land a good Flutter job in Uganda? In forms of technical skills, soft skills, or portfolio experience. What are the most basic essentials skill that you need in order to land a moderate job that can pay maybe like 1M plus in Uganda here? What are the skills that you need in Flutter?
Well, for that one, first of all, you need first, of course, be good at Flutter, and that because that is the programming language that is used for Flutter. So first of all, you have to be good at those. Then the next thing is you should have like sample projects, because personally I've done in a number of interviews with clients, then also employers, and one of the key questions they keep asking me is this one of what have you done so far. So that's when I bring out my portfolio of Flutter apps I've done before, send them links, and they check them out. So I would say, apart from learning Flutter, uh, build out something, build out like some project, then host it. For example, we have free hosting services like Firebase. We have Netlify, um, and then a number of others, GitHub pages. So you can build your project in Flutter, since Flutter is cross-platform and also can give you an output of a web app. So you can host that web app somewhere, so that when a client or a potential employer asks you about what you have developed before, you don't have to carry now your PC and start showing them the code and all that.
True.
Just send them a link to the hosted project online, and they will check it out.
That's
Then the next skill you need, of course, these soft skills, the communication, collaboration, teamwork, working with others, because employers, both of course in Uganda, because I've also had interviews with employers abroad in the UK. So of course, one of the key things they are looking out for is your communication skills, then also the collaboration, because when you're hired in a company, you are not going to write code alone as you are doing maybe in your freelancing or when you are learning Flutter. So in a company, it is all about collaboration and working with others. So that's why such soft skills are needed. Then you can also craft out some portfolio showcasing projects. Maybe you might be like, I don't have an idea of what app to build in Flutter. So maybe you can, by just building your simple portfolio website or portfolio app, like something that describes more about you and what you do. Yes, actually I did that, though for me, I did it when I was learning Astro. It's just a web framework for bloggers. So I just used it to build my portfolio, but in there, in that portfolio, I listed all my Flutter projects because that's what I wanted to promote about myself. So I would say also having that portfolio can also make you stand out. Then also the CV is also a good one to structure out. And for some tips about how to structure your CV, personally, the CV, look at the CV format I use. I learned from Google. Those Google have like they have a training session when you go to grow with Google. If you search online, grow with Google.
Yes.
You'll see a number of courses there, like short courses there, and one of them is about personal branding. Then the other one is about to come up with your CV. So in that, because there's a way they teach you how to structure your CV and it stands out. Because personally, the CV I have, maybe some of you can DM me either here on Twitter. Yeah, my DM is open then, or maybe on WhatsApp, or you check
so you can be able
my email.
So you can be able to help them in that case.
Yes, and I can send you a sample of my CV, maybe to get some inspiration from there. But mainly in the CV, still, it is all about highlighting projects you have done before and past experiences in that given language, but in this case, Flutter, like past projects you have done before.
That is.
So basically, that's it.
Yeah, that's well explained, and that brings us to our next question. How can a Uganda developer stay updated with the latest trends and advancements in Flutter?
Well, this is a good one, and first of all, for me personally, because I'm also a Flutter developer, so how I stay up to date with the latest trends. First of all, when you come to my socials, I follow the Flutter team, like those core people are the Flutter team. Then Flutter has an official handle. It is at Flutter Dev. If you are here on Twitter, it is at Flutter Dev. That is the official handle of Flutter. So I always check there because those people are always posting updates about Flutter, about what they've added, about maybe a new project that has come up or a new package. So first of all, I would say following the Flutter channel so that you are up to date with all the information they post. Then also checking out the Flutter YouTube channel because in this case, I want us to first avoid the other people who post on YouTube, like just to get maybe the views and the money. But if you can first follow the official ones, like the official Flutter YouTube channel, the official channel has a number of a number of videos highlighting what Flutter does, what this widget does, and each week they're usually posting content and having various tech sessions like this one, but the other ones are live coding sessions and live Q&A questions, solutions. So there's also another handle called Flutter Community. So that Flutter Community, it is also backed up by some Googlers and some experts in the Flutter field. So they also post a lot of content, and actually every Wednesday they have sessions in Flutter, like live code sessions and live Q&A. Then, besides following those ones, you can also attend developer events. For example, if you're a student, there's GDSC, that is Google Developer Events Clubs. Those people so always have Flutter sessions. I've done enough trainings there in GDSC events, and those trainings, I've done a number of them. Then, besides that, we have other events organized by GDG Kampala, that is Google Groups. So GDSC is for universities, then GDG is for those who are out of campus and you are still interested in the tech field. So you join GDG Kampala. They usually host events like Flutter Forward. I know that is coming soon, probably in the next coming months. Flutter Forward and Flutter Forward event.
Where do you think the next Flutter Forward is going to be taken?
Of course, it will usually we're at Motive.
Last one it was in Kenya. So are we going to have one? Where are we going to have one? Yeah, if you can predict.
Okay, each country. Okay, they first hosted that official one. Now, like last year, the official one was in Kenya. Then after the one, each country starts hosting its own.
So there are different communities in each country.
Yes.
So I think that can be like well explained, and people are now know how they can stay updated with Flutter updates. So that brings us to our next question. What advice would you give to the aspiring Flutter developers in Uganda who are just starting, because those are the ones those are the kind of people who need advice? So what advice would you give to the aspiring developers in Uganda or across Africa who are just starting with their careers in Flutter?
Well, the number one advice I would give them is, first of all, to practice the Flutter. Because there's one thing to learn Flutter by watching those tutorials and everything, but what makes you an expert or good at Flutter is by practicing it. And the only way to best practice is to work like on a sample project. Like I told you previously, you can at least start by working on maybe your portfolio or your own, you could say it is your online business card, something like that, just showing your information and what you do. So practice could be the first one. Then the next one, of course, is keeping engaged with the Flutter, with other Flutter developers and experts in the field, because most of them keep posting, of course, on social media.
Yes.
Even that team also keeps posting. So by that, you're always sure that you're up to date, that even as you're learning and growing in the field, still up to date with current changes. Then also, you can attend like those developer events, and also feel free to network with others, because you could attend that developer event, but you don't want to reach out to the experts already in the field. But it's good to attend such a developer event and still network with such developers, so that in case you are stuck somewhere, because think someone is maybe an expert in Flutter and maybe they are speaking in a given developer event, they've already gone through like most of the challenges you as a beginner is going through, so they can easily help you out, other than you starting from looking for the solution. So mainly it is networking and just keep posted with the official Flutter team.
That is very true. So what, as a Flutter developer, can you briefly tell us the challenges that you have faced as a Flutter developer in this Uganda market? Oh, what are the challenge or the biggest challenge that Flutter developers are facing in this Uganda market? Briefly.
Briefly, maybe I would say, first of all, the learning resources. Okay, like in Uganda, I wouldn't say we have like a specialized institution where you can go and learn Flutter. So that kind of hinders most people from probably learning Flutter, where because most cases it is more of self-drive, whereby you'll go to a given course, maybe on Coursera or Udemy or on YouTube, Free Code Camp, anywhere, and you start learning a given course. So, but that is mainly because we don't have like maybe a specialized institution in Uganda that teaches Flutter. So then, besides that, also since the job market in Uganda is a growing one, so we have like limited opportunities. So since the opportunities are limited, you have to be like really good at Flutter, and you have put yourself there. So that would be also another challenge. So basically, those are the two challenges I've found.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and also maybe the people to inspire you at since the industry is still virgin. People who are inspired, the mentors in this particular industry are not there. So it is up to you to really motivate yourself and try it out. At the end of the day, you won't regret the time that you'll have invested in. Okay, on call, recognizing Dr. Drake, and I'll give him an opportunity to give us a word after our conversation. So, Brian, how can the Uganda government or or technology community better the support uh, better the support for the growth of Flutter developers? Like, how can the Uganda government or the technology communities help the Uganda developers in Flutter to become better?
Thank you. So about this one, first of all, like we know most of us in tech sometimes want to do things alone, but it's better to do things together because tech is all about collaborating and working together. So the first thing the government can do or the tech communities can do first is to organize like workshops and various training programs or conferences that are mainly focused on Flutter, whereby people come to such a conference or a workshop that is about 2 to 3 days and learn Flutter so that they can go in that field and also meet other experts in that field. So mainly it is all about the tech communities promoting Flutter and its various advantages, and the best way they can promote it is by organizing workshops and other training programs or conferences that can promote this Flutter amongst the developers. I've seen this at Innovation Village. They have tried to really do some good work in training people in Flutter and also other various frameworks because they usually have workshops going on, usually on weekends, whereby people go to Innovation Village and be part of those sessions. So mainly about training more and more developers in the tech field, I would
and
say.
and consequently it results to the development or economic development to everyone in the country, as well as technology. So very last question is, what are your predictions for the Flutter future in Uganda? What are the predictions? What do you think Flutter is going to become in Uganda?
First of all, in Uganda, we have noticed a growing market, first of all, for mobile apps. So that alone is a promising future for Flutter developers because the market is growing mainly in the field of mobile apps. Because personally, I've had like a number of clients who are in need of services related to mobile apps because they want to implement these in their businesses, institutions, and various organizations. So I would say the future for Flutter is a promising one, and if most of us can learn and some of us grow into expert level, so we could see a bigger Flutter community coming out in Uganda, and we have this amazing ecosystem of developers who can collaborate and support each other. So basically, that's what I would predict for the future of Flutter.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brian, for the time you've given us. But before we get off the call, we shall welcome like two or three questions from the public. So stay on call and you answer some questions that will come from the people who are listening. So before we welcome questions, I would like to invite Dr. Drake to open your microphone and give us a word about the technology or ICT in Uganda, as well as about 8 Learning, what's 8 Learning all about. And then after, we shall close the session by welcoming a question, one or two from the public, and you call it a day. So Dr. Drake can open your microphone if you're there. Dr. Drake, so as you are opening your microphone, I'd like to invite questions, one or two. If you have a question, you just simply press the microphone button and I allow you to ask. However, Dr. Drake, you should work on your microphone. Okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you for opening, Doctor.
Yeah, you've given me the right, I think, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mubarak and Brian, for really setting up this space, but also for championing the whole principle of how do we build software developers and build this ecosystem. So I would speak about, I think, 3 levels. One, we are talking, you raised Flutter. I want for me to scale it from at a higher level. Colleagues, globally, you know very well that Africa, we have less than 600,000 software developers. And if you look at a country like India, it has near about 6 million. And the US has about, I think, 4.7. And if you look at the number of software developers per population, we are doing very badly, because Africa, I think we have about 579,000 software developers. And Uganda, we are classified at about 13,000, out of which, by the way, nearly 80%, about 87% of those developers are amateurs. So what I want to share with you is that, one, there is a huge potential for software development as a career. But also the potential is in areas that are sometimes non-traditional. So when you talk about software development, you have to augment it with different skill sets. For example, graphics and content authoring, data science and data analytics. So we are seeing a lot of opportunities around data science, data engineers, and so on. So reflect in terms of the opportunity that exists. So as a software developer, one of the things I note also that globally, the need for having a match set of skill looks to be the trend. So as you have had, for example, the success of Brian is because Brian does cross-platform, but also brings the element of UX and graphics on board. So he becomes a very useful resource. But when you specialize and say, for me, I'm doing mobile apps, I'm not doing web, I'm doing back end, I'm not doing front end, so you have a challenge there, you end up with limited opportunities, which will affect your career growth and, of course, overall gainful employment in the world. Policy-wise, you had a question, what should government do? What should the private sector do? What should other people do? I think, for me, government is making the right choices, to be honest. The role of government is to put enabling environment so that software, the ecosystem can grow. So as far as policy is concerned, we have a very good policy that promotes innovation, promotes uptake of local solutions, We are seeing policies geared to improving connectivity, lowering the cost of network. The gaps that we have in our government level is we are lacking what you call commercial diplomacy. So we need our government to do more to ensure that solutions developed locally can get global prominence. As companies, as organizations, we struggle to indeed to acquire international market. But the government has a bigger voice than small companies. So if government takes upon itself to document and create market spaces for Ugandan solutions, this will open up spaces for software developers. Because if companies are able to sell products globally, we bring in more money, then definitely the opportunities for career growth will be immense. What should companies do, and the companies like 8Tech? I think what we're doing for us, and maybe I'm coming to 8 Learning for the interest of time, we are creating opportunities in 8 Learning, what we call from classroom to work, that you are able to study. I normally challenge my students, and the seniors, given the number of them on the call, maybe my students, that if you're a software developer, a software engineering student, a computer scientist, by the time you are in the second year, you should be working in an organization. You should be interning somewhere, even if it's for free, so that you're able to get the right skills that you need to to grow into the industry. Now, if you're a software engineering student, and for sure you are in fourth year and third year, and you have zero industry experience, you've never interned, you've not built on a live application, you've not, definitely your career path is going to be very slow, and it will be agonizingly very, very slow. So, 8 Learning, one of the things that has come to do is to help such a kind of a community. We are right now working with international partners and potential employers. We had a meeting recently, for example, with a company from Germany. They want about 300 software developers. We don't have them. So the plan of 8 Learning is to prepare people for industry productivity skills, those already in the industry, those outside the industry, those about to join the industry, so that we can be able to improve gainful employability, but also create career opportunities for those that may not have had. So sorry guys, I don't want to talk too much, but I think I want to throw some light in those kind of directions. Over to you, moderator.
Thank you so much, Dr. Drake. In case there is anyone with a question, you can put it forward. I think you can just press the microphone, and then I will accept you to speak. I see Kirabo Isaac, you had requested. I think you are not sure about the microphone. Kirabo Isaac, if you have a question, you can put it forward. Otherwise, I would like to thank Dr. Drake for the light he has given. It was so much eye-opening. Okay, so if there is no question, Brian, before I let you in, Makere students, if you're here, just DM me your ID numbers before 10:05. I mean, before 5:10. Send me your ID numbers. You know what I'm talking about. Then, Dr. Drake had made it clear about 8 Learning. I would like to call our guest, Brian, to give us our closing remarks, and then we call it a day.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Mubarak and Dr. Drake. Thank you for hosting this space, because such spaces are good for aspiring developers and people who want to get good in this field. So I would like to say if we could have more of these, maybe monthly or weekly, or some people from 8 Learning could also join in such spaces or other events that you organize. Would be a good one to have our developers also grow into the field. Yeah, then I would like to thank everyone for joining. Thank you so much, because this one is a good opportunity for all of us to exchange ideas and learn from each other. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brian.
Maybe for those who want to reach out to me,
Sure.
like I said, in my bio, there's that link to my portfolio. And right on my portfolio, there are all my social media accounts, and you can reach out on any of them. Thanks so much.
Thank you to Mr. Brand for giving us that time. It's valuable. Yeah, we're going to continue organizing this periodically on different topics. Maybe it will help to open eyes of different people. Lastly, all Makerere students, if you're here, make sure that you follow our page and also send me a DM of your ID number. All right, we call it a day. This post will be posted on this recording will be posted on our Twitter handle, also on our YouTube channel. So in case you want to listen again, you can find it there. Make sure you also share. Good night to everyone.
That whereby a developer is hired to do all those apps for various platforms. So basically, the career paths, we have freelancing. You can also do some agency work, or you do contract work. Someone can hire you for a given period of time, and you do a contract on a Flutter project. Then also we have internship programs, because companies hire out interns to also do some Flutter work.